Okay, got it.
And I mean, I've been following you quite a bit, actually. It's a pleasure to actually speak to you in person. I've done some stuff like schema, markup, and as much as I could get my head around, but I know there's still a lot of other things that I can try to work on.
Right.
So,
All right. Well, I'll check it out. One second. Let me just gonna put my camera. Just making sure all this is good. Okay. I think we're good to go. All right. I'm gonna call you on Skype. One second. We get the email. Takes a while to set all this stuff up. Sorry about that.
no worries.
All right. Trying to find the email.
I messaged it to you via Facebook
Oh, I thought you
Messenger.
said email. Sorry about that.
Oh, oh,
There we go.
man.
Oh, you sent me the email. Got it. That's the.
Yeah.
All right. I just calling you on Skype. Does it work?
Chase, can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. Cool. All right. So I'll just go ahead and screen share this, and let me know if you can see it all right.
Yeah, it's just loading.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see.
All right. Cool. So let me just exit out of a few things. All right. So the website you sent me was
Localworkgloves.com.
logoworkgloves.com. All right. Cool. Is there any way you can share analytics and Search Console with me?
Uh, yeah, let me just get to that.
Okay.
Okay, so analytics, it's a client site and they gave me analytics access and they didn't give me admin access, I won't be able to, but I can give you any data you need or do screen share. But Search Console, since I set it up for them, I should be able to send that over to you. Would that be okay?
Yeah, I mean it's more for the crawl and for like benchmark data, which is pretty important, but if you can't get it, it's not like I mean, I
I'm
could still.
sorry.
No, it's fine. I could still help you. But yeah, I mean, it is something that you're going to want to do at some point, and I can explain to you how to do it. Uh, but, anyways, let me just go into. I guess it doesn't matter. If you can give me Search Console, though, that would be good.
Yep, I can. I'm on it right now. Which email?
Can you send it to the email letter M at chasereiner.com?
IM at chasereiner.com is not associated with the Google account. Did I letter I, letter M at chasereiner.com?
Yeah, here, let me just send it over. I'll just type it out. It should work. There it is.
Where
Did you get it?
did you send it to me?
Oh, on Skype.
Skype. Messaging disabled until request is accepted. If you can just accept my friend request, then.
Okay. I don't know how to do that. Let me just... Here, I'll just type it on my browser. Is that how you typed it out?
Yeah, that's exactly how I typed it out. Add a new user email.
Okay, try support@chaserender.com.
Support@chaserender.com is not associated with the Google account.
Both of them are
CHASERIENER. Yeah.
CHASEREINER. I'm like literally in the Search Console property for it right now.
Okay. Hold on. Shall I just? You want me to screen share, and if you can, do you want to check my screen and see if I'm doing it right?
Yeah, I'll just tell you what you need to do once we're at that point. It's fine right now. Let me just go into the audit template. Let me bring it open. Okay. Okay, so let's just start checking the basics first, and then once we do that, we'll go into the more technical stuff. So this is WordPress?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No, it's a the blog part of it is WordPress, but then the rest of the site is a OpenCart 1.5, I believe.
Okay. Just gotta add this.
And that was another question I had. So apparently OpenCart, which is a CMS for e-commerce sites, it's apparently version 2.0 is the latest. And I get this a lot, like even with Magento, a lot of developers prefer working on older versions as opposed to 2.0, like 1.5, 1.1, 1.9. Does that impact SEO in a significant way, like running on an older version of a CMS?
I wouldn't know with the CMSs you're on, but I mean, in general, it could, but I think it's more of a question of like, what are you currently doing on the site in general? Like, I don't know if I don't think it's gonna hurt you if it's like a good content management system. Like for WordPress, if it's a little bit outdated, it's not gonna really destroy your SEO unless you get like hacked or something. It just has to do more with like if you're just not doing what needs to be done, and for instance, if the older version isn't compatible with what you need to fix, right? Like if you can't change something because the older version won't let you change that because that, I don't know. Either way, the robots.txt, I would put the sitemap in there if you can. It's not necessary. I mean, it's not, you don't have to, but at least when Google goes to crawl your robots.txt file, they know where your sitemap is.
Okay, the robot.txt is not yet set up for that site. Okay, I'll get that sorted.
No, it is. It's just not it doesn't have the sitemap in there. In terms of your sitemap, looks good. Favicon, I think you guys have. Yep. Assuming you're not using accelerated mobile pages.
No.
CTA above the fold for main pages. No, not really. You might want to experiment with that depending on your conversion rates. I don't know if you're tracking that stuff, but If you aren't, you definitely should be, because at a certain point, once you get pretty optimal SEO, you're going to want to start going into conversion rate optimization. Mobile friendly, I'm assuming yes. Yep. About page. Yep. Contact page. Yep. Terms of services, privacy policy. Yep. HTML sitemap and footer. Yep. Social media. Not really showing on here. Oh,
Yeah, it's
right
on the bottom.
Sorry. Sorry about that. Indexation. All right, let's check out what you're indexing. Got 191 results. And this is a problem. So I don't know if you see what's going on here, but your keyword targeting is really the only thing that's different is just like the beginning parts of your site. So like literally just mechanic goat skin and then the same stuff across all of it. Now that isn't really giving you the ability to do click-through rate optimization, which I don't know what your current click-through rates are for your given keywords, but we need to talk about that also. So if we were to look at your search console, I really wish I could go in here without needing to do like a screen share, but the point is that you want to be able to see what URL you have. Let's say, for instance, this one. The keyword that you're mapping to it, and the way you decide that is based off usually the highest impressions and clicks or click-through rates. So if the top keyword, for instance, is waterproof liner, and you know that that's the most likely keyword to rank for that page based off like the search console data or just your best guess, you would put that there. And then you'd put the search rate, which is like, you know, let's say it's whatever, 500,000, I don't even know. 813. So you plug that in. So that's the first step. Now, this next step is doing whatever you need to do to optimize that click-through rate based off benchmark data. So the next part would be going over your benchmarking. You do the same thing, same URL, keyword waterproof liner, search volume, put your benchmark date, which is basically the day that you're benchmarking on. So that would be like today, August 20th, if you were to do that. And then all of this you'd basically drag from Search Console. So if I were to go to Search Console, and I'll just give you an example. Go into my site. And we go into queries. Let's just say this is the query you want to go for. So let's just say that's waterliner or whatever it is. You'd go to pages, find that page that's matching it. Go to back to queries and reset. And now you can see all the things that it's ranking for. Now, if your mapped keyword is that one keyword, you would click on that and you would see, based off these, the average clicks, total impressions, average click-through, and positions. Now, if you were to take those and plug those in, like average click-through rate, which this shouldn't be red. I don't know why that's red. Hold on, let me make sure it's set up correctly. Values greater than or equal to 21. Why is that there? Greater than 3%. That should be working. I don't know why. It's telling me that it's red when it should be green. that is a value greater than 3%. Try that again. Something weird's going on here. Huh, it's really weird. I don't know why. Either way, what you would want to do is you'd put the all the stuff that you would need based off your data, which you can export from Google Analytics if you sync Search Console with Google Analytics, and then you can literally just plug everything in here, except the click-through rates and the average positions you would take from Search Console, because those are going to be specific to the keyword, not all of the keywords ranking for that page, if that makes any sense. But anyways, once you do that, then you would have also your conversion rates, which you'd want to optimize based off reds or greens from the conditional formatting, and then your content averages based off any sort of content averaging software you have. So long story short, if you were to go into your Search Console and see that your click-through rate, which I'm assuming probably is low for that, I don't know if that's true or not, but let's just say it's at 1% and that's red, you want to make sure it hits at least 3% for a keyword that you're trying to map out. So if it was at 1% for that keyword, what you would end up doing is click-through rate optimization, because that's what you'd want to do. Now, for click-through rate optimization, all you really have to do is go into that page, look at the words with the top click-through rates. Let's say rank and rent, boom. Rank and rent websites, 30%. Rank and rent SEO, 7.6. Rank and rent 2018, 10%. So now I already have all the different things that are going to mix up into that new title qualification, or qualifiers, what they're called, qualifiers. So let's just do rank and rent, because we know that's the main keyword. We'll pull that to the left, kind of like what you're already doing. And then websites, let's just say websites is one. And then let's just say, for instance, we do like SEO 2018 in the brackets. And then if we keep scrolling down, maybe we do like this, SEO 2018 top niches. Something like that. Now, I'm just giving an example, but what I'm really doing is I'm just taking all of the top keywords with click-through rates and all of the things that people are interested in terms of qualifiers around that, like 2018, websites, SEO, whatever the extra thing is, keyword research, I don't know. And I'm putting that into a title, which is going to be way more hyper relevant to the thing that people are searching versus just taking the first keyword, putting it there, and then having everything exactly the same. Okay. So it's really important that you do that for these different pages, and the way you would actually probably want to do it is by going by your first top traffic pages. So you would go through your first, let's say, 20 pages, and then make sure you do click-through rate optimization to all of them first. But anyways, so that's one of the things with the indexation. In terms of some of the other stuff, we can actually quickly get everything once I bring up Screaming Frog. You just...
So is this something that I primarily only need to work on for the title tag, or also for the meta descriptions and...
Well, I was going to show you in a second.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let me just crawl with Screaming Frog. And then while we wait for that, in terms of your other stuff, like what you're indexing, we can look at indexation count's probably not too high, because looks like 191 is probably fine. We'll look at the duplicate content issues in a second, the thin content. I'm going to skip those for a second. Outdated pages we'll skip for a second. Improperly optimized categories. Let's check out your categories. So certain pages like this are getting indexed, like PHP type pages, which is a problem.
Okay.
For you can see Google actually removes some of the results because some of them aren't relevant, which is another sign that content on here might not be optimal for what you're indexing. So yeah, I think you might be indexing searches. Yeah, so I think you're indexing some of these searches. Let's try PHP. So 68 with all, yeah, so you see all these? So that's going to be really bringing down your SEO a ton. So you need to go in there and make sure you're taking those off, unless this is what these actually are named. So in that case, if different products don't really have specific names or file paths,
Yeah.
you want to change that to correctly match what they are. And another example is like this, these things aren't even matching what the heading tags are. So your title tags should probably match what your heading tags are. Like
Right.
yellow slip-on work gloves should be like the title tag plus the, you know, whatever click-through rate optimization you're doing. If we export the results, actually, sorry, let me export HTML. Pull that up. What we can actually do is we can just pull this straight into our Screaming Frog template. And this will tell us with the conditional formatting all of the reds and greens that you need to fix, or reds you need to fix. Meaning that like all of this, you can see the titles are non-existent on a lot of these pages, or they're really short. Meta descriptions, you can see a lot of them are missing, or you know, there's only a few that are actually within the specific parameters. You have a ton of different pages that are 301ing to, I have no idea, let's go look, HTTPS, because all of the internal links within the site probably aren't fixed since you guys switched to HTTPS. So someone needs to go in and clean up all those internal links. In terms of some of the other stuff, you have H1 tags that aren't even there. You know, tons of H1 tags that you're not putting on pages. You could easily just have those match the title tags, and that would improve the overall value of that page. You know, a lot of the pages have 0 words on them, or they're below like even 300 words, which, you know, also has to do with not just an average word count, like for 300 being a good thing, but also like what other people have as their amount of content for a given keyword. So that's why it's also important to do like content averaging, so you can see. How am I able to see Google Analytics? Oh no, that's from mine, sorry. I was like really confused for a second. But yeah, so overall, you need to comb through your pages and just do like basic stuff on them first, and also fix the architecture of how your pages are being laid out. Also, like pages like this, cowhide-line-2, a lot of this stuff, I mean, I don't know if you can fix the index.php. It might just be that the site has to be done that way. But even in that case, you know, you want it to, I guess, represent what that actually is, I guess, like this. And in that case, I guess it's okay. Preferably, you'd have a categorized architecture, though. Like, as you can see here, like gloves/drivers/goatskin. Yeah. But then that redirects to the... I mean, maybe that's okay. Maybe that's how PHP sites have to work. I don't really know. It looks like Google's picking it up that way, so it might be okay. I don't know. I haven't really worked with sites that do PHP URLs like that. But it doesn't look like you guys are... Huh?
Yeah, I have had kind of a lot of difficulty trying to work my head around OpenCart, so I'll try to figure out how I can simplify the URLs a little bit, but I haven't been able to until now. I'll do a little bit of digging into seeing if I can shorten them.
Yeah. Also, it's kind of odd that Google recognizes... It looks like Google's... Is Google separating the blog? Because I didn't see it, any of these posts on the main, oh no, there it is. Okay, so yeah, so you have the blog, and then if we look at what's in there, you have paginated pages, which is fine, but you also have some other stuff like tags, which you want to get rid of, and probably authors. You want to get rid of those, and then doesn't look like you're using dates, so that's probably
I think 2018, if you put in there were a couple of posts around, or like I think one post that we did try 2018 with.
Well, I don't see anything in the URLs.
Oh yeah.
Which, as long as they're not in the URLs, it's fine. If it's in the content, then not a big deal. Like 2017, you can see it's in some of the content, but that's just that's fine. So yeah, you want to get rid of authors
and tags. So is that detrimental for SEO, like for the blogs, or is it just?
It's just a lot of duplicate content, really.
Okay.
Product tags, you can keep if you're using those. Media attachments, obviously, get rid of those if you're doing that. Account pages, I didn't see any paginated pages, that's fine. Business name included in all titles, that's what you're doing. I would take that out and do the specific optimizations of titles based off what we were talking about. PDFs without optimizations.
I'm sorry, before one more question about the blog. I've noticed a lot of people use like blog.website.com for their blogs. And is that fine instead of doing www.website.com/blog?
You mean like as a subdomain?
Yeah, subdomain.
You don't want to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I would not do that if I were you. Basically, you end up getting like a separate, like a roof of authority, and you don't want to set you want to keep it under one roof.
Got it.
I'm assuming you're not using multiple categories per post, but just make sure you're not. In terms of outdated pages, this has to do more with analytics. I don't really know how much traffic your pages are getting, but you want to check in on how many pages of your site are actually ranking and bringing in traffic, and how many aren't. Because if there's a lot that aren't, there's really not a huge point in keeping them. Click-through rate optimization, we already talked about this. You need to fix that. One of the things you could do if this site supports it is add aggregate rating through Schema. And the way you do that is just click into here, and then you generate reviews. You leave whatever reviews are on here, and then you can get star ratings for those gloves, but it doesn't even look like you have a place for people to leave ratings.
Right.
So you want to be able to enable that if you can. And then you have some sort of weird blog post right here that doesn't show blog posts.
Okay, I'll take care of that. But no, see, the funny thing about this client is it's not your average e-commerce site where it's like the e-commerce setup is basically so that other businesses can just browse the different kinds of products, and most of their sales actually come from phone calls. So it's not, even though they have an add to cart function and everything, that's not really used. So that's why conversion optimization has been kind of a nightmare for me. I've basically had to sort of guess. But
wait, say that last part again about the conversions?
So I haven't really been able to rely on conversion data from like your typical e-commerce where add to cart and then you get a sale, and then like just looking at analytic conversions, because the client says that most of their sales actually just come from phone calls.
You can track calls though.
How would I mean, could you suggest how I'd go about that? What, like third-party call tracking?
Yeah, you just call tracking metrics, and it just dynamically replaces the site number with JavaScript, and then you can just average out what the given price is for that, and it syncs with analytics.
Could you suggest a provider for that has worked for you?
Call tracking metrics.
Okay. They're called that, call tracking metrics.
Yep.
Because I know AdWords has an inbuilt call tracking system within them, but that won't work for SEO, I suppose. Cool. Call tracking metrics. I will check that out. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Site search. Good. 404s, 301s, and 302s. We saw a bunch of 301s. And looks like not seeing that many, nothing, no 404s. So just want to fix the 301s. Internal linking, you're not really doing any of that on this site, which is a huge loss, because if you're going to do link building but you don't do internal linking should be like way before you do external link building. It also doesn't look like you're linking out too much externally to other relevant websites, which, you know, is supposed to help with relevancy signals. So you really need to work on where you're sending your links to. Keyword mapping you're not doing yet, I'm assuming, because I sort of created this. Most people don't do it. And I would recommend you do that, because also with the internal linking, it'll help you figure out what you need to point your links with what anchor text. Images missing alt tags. Let's go see. It's only 6, not that big of a deal, but still. Image file URLs. Not descriptive at all, which is kind of a problem, but it is what it is. In terms of fixing that, I probably wouldn't spend the time I mean, you could re-optimize all the images in the URL structure, but it's probably not worth the time. Title tags too short. All of this, you just need to see the keyword or the screaming frog. See screaming frog. But overall, I mean, you're somewhat good. You don't have meta keywords. You're not using your phone numbers, but some of the other stuff I did see problems with. For the page speed optimization, let's go check.
I did as much as I could for that, like.
Okay.
But yeah, I did try.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds like you're kind of been struggling with this website a little bit just because of its content management system, I'm assuming.
Ah, damn, it's a mess.
Yeah, it's awful.
It's actually really simple. Like, it's oversimplified, so it doesn't really give me control over anything. That's the only problem. Or I haven't figured out how to control it, really.
Right. So it looks good. Content related issues. So biggest thing here is just making sure that the content isn't too similar to each other. I know with e-commerce it's a little bit different because you have a lot of the products showing on multiple pages as related products, that kind of thing, but you want to make sure that a good amount of your content on each page is main content and original content, meaning that the supplementary content, which you're going to see like related product stuff like that, shouldn't be like equal to the amount of content you have for your main content or like the original content that you're going to have per page. And we'll check that out in a second. Wait for that to go. In terms of your schema, you have product markup on some of the products, which is great. You don't have the breadcrumb markup properly utilized. In terms of the local, like it's not even showing up even though you have breadcrumbs on your website. You're not using the aggregate rating because I guess you can't. In terms of the blog markup, since it's WordPress, I'm assuming you're probably doing schema. I don't know.
I'm not sure. I don't think I did. Like, I know there's a easy plugin that you can't remember off the top of my head, but
it's called the JSON.
I guess Yoast, JSON LD, right?
Yeah, so you need to put that on there.
Okay. So, I don't expect that aggregate review would be used by their clients, but do you think it's just useful just to have it even if there are no reviews? Like, will that in and of itself help?
Wait, aggregate review, it helps because you generally get higher click-through rates, and it's helpful just to have reviews in general on a page because you get more content out of it.
Right. But like hypothetically, if I was to get no reviews, like no one engaged with the review option, would that still help? The fact that I have the option there on the site to review products.
Wait, would it help what?
Basically, I don't expect their clients to really leave any reviews or anything on the site. So should I still put it in there, even though I don't expect any reviews from it, just as like a ranking signal that okay, the site has this markup?
You don't have to have clients leave reviews. You could potentially give away products or have people review products that you know, that's what I do for my products, is I'll give them away in exchange for reviews. And that's probably something that you might want to consider doing, because again, you get more content, you get aggregate rating you can put in there. You know, some people just do a black hat and they just write their own reviews, and because I mean, technically people Google's not going to really know if it's somebody who left a review, or I mean, especially if it's like a custom CMS, but that just really comes down to you and how you want to do review generation. Either way, I would try to figure out a way to get reviews on your product pages, especially pages that are receiving a good amount of traffic and conversions.
Okay.
So anyways, I mean, some of these pages have above like 30% matches on their content, and it's really just more supplementary type content. So I think a lot of the problems with this site is probably around thin content related issues. If you look at your search console right now, how many of the 200 pages indexed are receiving traffic?
Wow, it only shows 3 actually. That's pretty terrible.
So
okay.
So yeah, I mean, you can see that out of this, there's only 35 things that it says you need to fix, but the biggest thing that you need to fix really is the overall game plan of the site, because right now what you have is a bunch of pages that content is on, and really they're just shells of pages. There's really no hold on. There's no rankings for a lot of the pages, and there's no content. So what's ending up happening is you have like a shell of a website, like a shell of a game plan, or a shell of like a, you know, what's the word I'm trying to say? You basically have like an outline, but you don't have like an actual thing, you know?
Yeah.
So the biggest part, and that's why I always say map this stuff out, is because you want to make sure that every page on your site, or at least the top 20 or 30 when you start out with, have a purpose. Once you clear out all this other, you know, more, you know, random specific items, right? Like all of this stuff isn't really going to help you that much. The thing that's going to help you the most is taking your keyword map or your benchmark and seeing, okay, let's see what this site's driving already. Let's see if we can currently optimize the top pages and improve those with whatever, you know, based off the metrics we're getting for those. And then let's figure out what pages are receiving the most or the least amount of traffic, and figure out what's worth keeping and what's worth getting rid of, and then map all those out. Because at the end of the day, what you're going to end up getting is something like what we have for our clients. I'll show you. This is one of our clients that's paying us like $3K a month. So here we go. Here's all the different pages. And now what we can do is we can easily look in here and be like, okay, this is a page that we're trying to rank. The search volume for that page, for that keyword that we're trying to rank for that page is 170. Our current average position is 2. Our current click-through rate is 39%. Current conversion rate is 11%. So we know that this URL, we could pretty much just highlight green and be like, that's good to go. Right? That's pretty much done everything we need to do. If we scroll over more too, we can run averages and see, you know, based off the software that I created, what the average word count is, which is 155. Word double that, which generally, if you double the average on word count or whatever you're doing, like image counts, that kind of stuff, you generally will end up winning pretty well, just because word count seems to be a high ranking factor in most scenarios. Then same thing with the next page, right? Going over being like, are we in the right average position? Right now we're in average position 25. Let's look at the metrics. Okay, current click-through rate's 9.96%. Let's look at the content. Okay, we're way above the average. What do we need to do? Well, maybe it's that this thing is too competitive to rank for what this page is, or maybe it's not relevant enough. Let's perhaps choose a longer tail keyword approach, or you know, whatever else we need to do to test this. But the point is you can see here they're also bringing in a really high conversion rate. So you know, maybe at that point that's where we do link building. But in most cases I don't do link building either way, because the more you end up reformatting this stuff and spending more time like optimizing the content to make it more relevant to what people are looking for, or maybe adding more relevant content similar to this and then doing internal linking back to that content, generally this will just continue to go up over time. Yeah, back to what I was saying with you is, you know, number one, you need to fix basic foundation type things like you know, indexation, terms of like the blog, you know, whatever else we were talking about in terms of indexation. What was it? Figuring out also what content needs to be kept and gotten rid of. Figure out what content needs to be kept and gotten rid of, because again, if you don't know and you just have a bunch of like 200 pages on your site that aren't ranking, then it's going to weigh you down, and it's better just to have 3 pages of like solid content that's ranking than 200 pages of things that aren't doing you any favors. And what you want to do to figure that out is, again, do the keyword map. Keyword map will help you figure out which pages you want to try and rank. And the way you should try to rank pages is really just based off intent. If you see that, for instance, this is a page you want to keep, and you know that the keyword map for this is, let's say, promoting your business with printed gloves. Let's just say that has 700 searches. You would map that to that keyword within here. You'd say, okay, that's it. It's an average position based off the benchmark, let's say 20. And you run all these other metrics, and you see that, you know, it's lacking in a lot of averages, or you check the Screaming Frog crawl and you see that that page doesn't have heading tags or whatever else. There's something wrong with it. Or the internal link count's really low. You can see within here, you know, some pages only have like 3 internal links, right? But they're really valuable pages. By adding more internal links, you're gonna end up passing more page rank to those pages, and usually ending up ranking them higher. So yeah, keyword map, then data benchmarking. for the keywords that you map out, figuring out what you want to keep, what you want to optimize, what you want to get rid of. And then content creation based off content deficits, meaning that if a ton of pages you want to rank don't have the type of content they need, or they just don't have any content, then you would basically end up probably hiring somebody to help you create that content, and then optimizing it after whatever average is met for that. And then 6 would be probably fixing the internal link structure. So you basically are just going to be trying to find your top pages you're trying to rank and linking to them according to how relevant they are to the page you're at, like the home page, linking to the most popular items or whatever you're going to be linking to. Then you'd probably fix more specific type issues like schema. OG data, etc. And then also, you know, at some point in here, I would probably recommend maybe step 1 is doing conversion tracking for calls, and also what was the other thing? There was something else. I forget what it is, but the conversion tracking for calls would be...
Yeah, call tracking.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that's the top things for now. You know, again, it's important that you set a solid foundation because, you know, as you saw, you were shocked, like, if only 3 pages are receiving traffic, yeah. You know that there's something wrong. And really what it is generally you're trying to do SEO to a website that doesn't have anything worth ranking. So even though you might be good at SEO, you're going to end up, you know, not able to do your job because you don't have what you need to rank. And generally what you need is a list of all the things you want to rank based off what you already have or what you don't have. Maybe you have a bunch of example URLs and you want content for that as well. Figuring out what the averages are and what the deficits are, and then putting out a game plan of how you're going to get those. So if the bounce rate, again, is like at 80%, you got to figure out why. Usually it's due to site speed or the layout's kind of messed up on the website. And then you would go and fix it. Or maybe the content, you know, is really low, or you have low average internal link count, whatever it is. But by doing that for multiple URLs, now you have a very easy game plan that you can go and see from a very high overview versus like going into a website and thinking like, okay, I have all this stuff going on and I know a title tag, you know, should be there, but that's just really one of many things. And if you're optimizing just based off like, is a title tag a ranking factor or should I build links to that kind of thing, you're not going to be winning in the long run. You have to think about it from an, you know, far out perspective of how do I get a page that performs on all aspects in terms of having a high click-through rate, having low bounce rates, having high conversion rates, and hopefully somewhat over-optimized on the content averages. Once you do that, you're going to have a lot easier time optimizing the current URLs that you map out as well as the future URLs that you want to build out as well, because really all you have to do at that point is a little bit of keyword research, map out the URLs you want to rank, and then just make sure you have somebody who's able to write content in a way that, you know, is going to match what intent is people are trying to find. Now that's the other hard part, is figuring out how to find somebody who knows how to write well enough for a given intent. And really intent is just based off a certain layout. So if you look at, let's say, gloves for big hands or something, you can see that all of this, let's just say, for example, on the top pages, has a certain structure to a page, and we'll just say that a lot of these pages look very similar. Now, if we look at glove price comparison or something, and we hire a content writer to write about that, and they're just writing, what might need to be that we have certain table-like things, like for instance, ratings, prices, something like that, which is going to be a completely different type of content layout than somebody would give us. So it's also really important that we understand if we're going to have people write for us in terms of content for our different mapped out pages, that they are writing for the right layout based on the intent, not just writing for the purpose of writing. So that's probably the top things I'd recommend to you. Do you have
do you have do you have a place that you normally go for content that you would recommend?
It depends on the type of content being written, right? If it's something easy, like let's say iPhone repair, I mean, I was hiring people for like $4 an hour writing me articles for like how to repair an Android phone, because that's the kind of stuff that's just really easy to write about. If you're going to be like doing like, let's say medical advice or like SEO articles where you actually need to know what you're talking about, that's a completely different type of hiring somebody. Now, it is also depends on what type of formats you're writing about. If you're doing like price comparison and just fact gathering, then you can really easily hire people to just gather facts and then write them out and reword them. Either way, you want to either probably go on writersaccess.com, which is a good place to hire people, or maybe something like Upwork if you wanted to.
Okay. I mean, I've tried Upwork, Fiverr. I've also looked at the Hoth actually offers a blogging service as well. That I don't know. Have you checked that out, or do you have an opinion on that?
I haven't really looked at the Hoth, but I do know about them, and I know that a lot of the stuff they do is kind of hit or miss. Yeah. I would probably try to find somebody that you can sort of work with and train versus like somebody from a team that's already hiring people that you don't really know. They're really, in my opinion, just taking sort of the same approach where they're probably outsourcing to somebody else, but training them in a way that they want the deliverables. I would really just sort of follow the layout of the video I made recently talking about how to make pages based off hyper-specific data, which is really the best way to build content, and then just maybe send it to a SEO writer and see if they can sort of understand what you're saying around these, or what I'm saying around these concepts, because you can apply this to pretty much any type of writing.
Which one is it?
It's this one right here, how to make a local page rank, which really actually has to do with all types of pages.
Sure, I'll check that one out. Awesome.
Yeah, let me know what you think whenever you get a chance. But yeah, man. So I mean, that's pretty much it. Do you have any more questions, or?
Right now I'm just trying to digest everything that you've given me. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, I don't normally do these giveaways, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. Did you get anything out of that that's helpful, at least?
A lot. I mean, I'm gonna try to fix everything that you've told me right now and come back and get these things all sorted out.
Nice.
I'm gonna rewatch this video you're gonna upload this, yeah, on your channel?
Yeah, it's already uploaded. I mean, it's live, so you'll be able to see it whenever you want.
Awesome. I will check that. But thanks so much, Chase. I've always been a fan of your work, and awesome to actually talk to you.
Yeah, most definitely,
Thanks.
man. Let me know how it goes. I'd be interested in hearing like what you think after you go through this stuff again.
I will definitely.
All right, man. Well, it's good talking to you, and hopefully I'll hear from you a little bit later.
I'll be in touch. Awesome.
All right.
Thanks.
No
Chase.
problem, man.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.
So that's it for today, guys. I'm getting tired. I need to drink some water, as usual. I don't know why my camera died, but I got to figure that out. So until I see y'all next time, guys, happy SEOing.